In this presentation, we will continue on with our comprehensive problem, this time taking a look at the overhead variance report. Before doing so, we're going to hide some of these cells once again. So last time we hid some cells below 52, so we're going to hide the entire rows starting from line 106. I'm going to left click on that and scroll down, and we're going to hide some of these rows down to line 140. Let go. Right click on that selected area and don't delete them, but hide them. We're going to say hide, and there we go. So now we're going to have the overhead variance report. Overhead variance report is going to start off with the expected production volume. The expected production volume is the 75. And we're going to say that we have the production volume level that was achieved was 75. So therefore, we don't have a volume variance. So no volume variance. We could put none, or 75 minus 75, no volume variance. Then we're going to go into our variable and fixed costs. We're going to have our flexible budget, the actual results, and then of course our variances. So we're going to say, all right, here's going to be the variable costs. And the variable costs, we can say equals and pull this information from our data. So we're looking for the variable costs. Might be easiest to pick them up from our budgeted area. So we've got the indirect materials, the labor, the power, the repairs. I'm going to select this item, say enter, then we'll use the formatting to autofill the other three. So we'll say enter, put our cursor back on it. We're going to put our cursor on the autofill item and autofill the other three. So there we have those. Then we're going to say the flexible budget is equal to, scrolling back up to the flexible budget, we have the 15,000 and enter. And then again, we could do this for all of them. The indirect labor equals, and we can go to the 75,000 and enter. The power is equivalent, and scroll up to the 15,000 and enter. And then the repairs and maintenance is equal to, and scroll up to the repairs and maintenance and enter. Okay, and so then we can say that's going to be our total variable costs, and sum those items up. So we'll equal the sum of, I'm going to say the 15, 75, 15,000, and 30. Now we're going to compare that to what actually happened. So we're going to say this equals, and we're going to go up to our actual numbers. Here's the indirect materials, labor, power. So we'll say the 41,650, enter. And then we'll highlight that down, or autofill it down. Should pull those numbers down for us. Let's double check. Looks good. We can use our arrows here, say, where did that come from? Right there, repairs and maintenance. Yeah, that's the one. All right. So we'll undo that, and then we'll underline this item and sum these up. Equals the sum of this row or this column. And then we'll take the differences. So I'm going to take the difference is going to be equal to, I'm going to say the actual minus the budget and enter. And then we can highlight that down or autofill that down and double check that it does what we want. I'll double click on it and say, yeah, this one minus that one, that's what we want. And then I don't typically do it here. I could subtract these two, but I like to sum up the differences. So then I'll sum up the differences equals the sum of this row. And then these differences, this is the actual, this is the budget. So the differences are higher here, so that's not good. Unfavorable, unfavorable because they're higher here. Unfavorable and unfavorable. So that's not good. And then we're going to go to the fixed costs. So we'll have the fixed costs, and we'll start there. I'm going to say equals, and we'll pull these fixed costs from up top. So that's going to be the depreciation on the building, and then it's going to go down to the supervisor's salary. So I'm going to pick the depreciation on the building, and then autofill for the other three. Enter. And then we'll autofill, taking this 1, 2, 3. So there's the depreciation, machinery, taxes, and the supervision. All right, and then we'll say the flexible budget is going to be equal to, and if we scroll back up top, flexible budget, the 24,000 and enter. Then we'll autofill that down. So taking this autofilling down to the supervision, underline that. And then we'll take the actual results equals, going up to the actual results for the depreciation on the building, 24,000 and enter. And then we'll autofill them down. So 1, 2, 3, underline. And then we'll see the difference between those two. I'm going to say this equals this number, actual minus the budget. There's our difference. If we autofill that down, there's going to be our differences. We'll underline this again. And then, of course, there's no difference there. This one, the cost is greater than the budget, so that's unfavorable. This one, the cost is less than the budget, so that's favorable. I have to hit an F and then a space because the F is trying to fill this item up top. And then we're going to have the total fixed costs. So that's going to give us the total fixed costs. We'll sum these up, equals the sum of the 24,000 down to the 280,250. Then I can autofill that across because that'll sum up this column and this column. So we'll autofill across, and there we have that, and that's going to be an unfavorable difference. And then we'll have the total overhead costs, which is going to be equal to the variable portion plus the fixed portion. And that'll give us the 527,250. We'll autofill that across. So autofill, and then that's unfavorable.